In this video, we're going to do a deep dive into how long car accident lawsuits take in New York, whether they're even necessary, and what that process looks like, as well as the factors that go into determining how long this process may take. So if you find yourself having been involved in a car accident and you live in New York State, there's a number of things that you need to do immediately after the accident in order to protect yourself. First of all, you need to call the police. You need to take photographs if possible, and you need to have the police assist you in determining both who is at fault and whether there are any witnesses, videos, recordings, etc. of the accident. Once that's all taken care of, you obviously need to get care. If you or someone that you were in the car with was severely hurt, that's going to be the first priority. But ultimately, you're going to have to take care of yourself, get medical treatment as necessary, and continue getting medical treatment throughout the course of the process. Because if you're not getting better, you don't want to bring any kind of a legal claim immediately anyway, unless you absolutely have to. So the most important thing, get the medical attention, then figure out what the process looks like. New York gives you a couple of options if you've been involved in a serious car accident. Now, the first question that you're going to want to ask is this something that we want to file a lawsuit over, or is it something that we want to make a claim with the insurance company for the other driver, as well as potentially your own insurance company, which we will talk about in another video, and see if we can resolve the claim outside of court. Now, many times in car accident cases, the claim can be resolved short of a lawsuit. It depends upon a number of factors, including the amount of insurance coverage available, the severity of your injuries, and additionally, whether you're continuing to treat or whether your injury has sort of resolved. So an example of this would be, if you have a broken arm following a car accident, there's a typical course of treatment. There's visit to the orthopedic surgeon, possibly a surgery, a period of recovery after the surgery, and a determination as to whether it is healed or whether you will require further care down the road. In that situation, assuming the insurance coverage was adequate, and assuming that the insurance carrier for the other driver acknowledged that it was their fault, it may be a situation where you can resolve that claim outside of a lawsuit. You may be able to, through an attorney, negotiate with the insurance company, present your claim, and get a similar resolution that you might expect to get if you were to file a lawsuit. Now, notice that there was a number of factors that went into that decision-making process. If those factors are not all lining up, filing a lawsuit may be the best option in order to maximize your recovery and do so at the appropriate time. So, if the insurance company for the other driver is disputing liability or fault, and you don't think that that dispute is accurate, you think you weren't at fault, they say you were, sometimes you have to file a lawsuit to hash that out. If they're disputing the amount or the severity of your injuries, that is another reason why a lawsuit might be necessary. We see that often in head injury cases, where someone maybe sustains a concussion at the time of the accident. The insurance company undervalues it, and it turns out that the client, the person who was hurt, is having significant traumatic brain injury type symptoms or longer term implications of that. Sometimes you have to file a lawsuit in order to press that process through, in order to ensure that the case is being fairly evaluated by the insurance carrier. The other is, if you are continuing to treat and it's been going on for a long period of time, sometimes it makes sense in those circumstances to file a lawsuit as well. Now, if you have to file a lawsuit, how does that process work? Well, it's a matter of basically filing paperwork by the attorney with whatever court is appropriate under the circumstances. Typically, that's either where the accident occurred or where you live, the county. Now, once that process is done, once the paperwork is filed, that triggers the start of a legal proceeding that has very standard steps along the way. And those include things like giving the other side an opportunity to respond to the complaint, which is the document that starts the lawsuit, engaging in a back and forth process known as discovery, where you provide authorization so that the other side can evaluate your medical care. The other side provides information relating to the accident and the other driver, including photographs, investigation materials, etc. You might go through a process of having depositions where both parties sit in front of attorneys and a court reporter and give answers under oath about how the accident happened, and in the case of the plaintiff, about how the injuries occurred. And oftentimes in a case involving a car accident, the insurance company for the other driver wants to have what's known as an IME taken or performed, and that is an examination of the plaintiff by a doctor hired by the insurance company. Why do they do this? Well, practically they do it because they want to have someone that they're paying diminish the value of your case, but it's something that they're entitled to do, and it often occurs in the context of a lawsuit when you file one relating to a car accident. So that whole process typically takes anywhere from 5 or 6 months on the short end to a year or more on the long end. In a basic standard auto accident case, you're probably looking at about 9 months for that discovery process to take place. Now, after the discovery process, one of two things typically happens. Either the defense files papers to have the case dismissed because they don't feel that they were at fault, or a trial is scheduled, and in many cases, there is a negotiation at that point, and possibly a settlement is reached. If a settlement isn't reached, a trial is scheduled and a trial takes place. Ordinarily, if you're going to have a trial, it's going to be somewhere around 18 months after that initial paperwork was filed, sometimes slightly less, sometimes slightly more. So the total process of a lawsuit arising out of a car accident in New York State can be anywhere from a few months, if there's not a lawsuit, to a couple of years in the event that there is a lawsuit. And that big gap in time is one of the things that we always talk with clients about in assessing what their desires are, what their desired outcome is, and what the best path forward for their case is, because every case is not the same. More importantly, the needs of every client are not the same. So it's important to consider all of these factors in determining, are we going to approach this case as one where we're going to try to resolve it short of a lawsuit in that shorter window? Or is this a case where it makes more sense for the client to file a lawsuit, go through the longer process, and ultimately hopefully get a good result in the end? That's the overall process of how long a lawsuit or a legal claim takes involving a car accident in New York. Any questions, reach out to us.